Welcome back to another episode of Merrick Tries to Drive a Car That's One Color, Mission Impossible. I'm your host, Tom Cruise. Let's just get into it. Alright, so last time I said no more Bondo, but your boy's a liar. So I started laying some more Bondo on here because I was editing the video and I saw how bad that line was and how bad it was going to look when I compared it to the other side. I'm not even going to show the sanding. I already started sanding and did a layer, and I'm doing a second layer. I'm tired of showing Bondo. So what we're going to do next is that I am going to take this here over fender and start trimming out all of this excess that is going to hit the wheel and also prevent us from mounting this kit nicely. Now, very conveniently, I was watching YouTube and saw Jimmy Oakes working on his friend's car, putting a complete Origin kit on it. So those are Origin made over fenders, Origin Labo, and he was using a full kit by them. And he mentioned the exact same thing, that there's excess on them, and they had to trim them to fit. And he also showed how you can put a lot of heat into them to get them to shape better. So I'm going to do both of those things. We'll see how it turns out. Hopefully it goes well, and I learned something. So. So I accidentally did that thing where I forget I was supposed to be recording again. Let me show you what I did. Okay, so you saw me trim out the bottom of this piece right here. I did some test fitting. I still think that I'm going to need to hit it with a torch or something to kind of heat gun to try to get it to warp up a little bit. I started coming up a little bit too high right here. I didn't realize how it looked from behind. That's my bad, but I still think it'll look good, and I'll just smooth that out a little bit more. Anyways, you see that there's a window here suddenly out of nowhere. It's because I pulled the door off and I got the door prepped. So it would drive me absolutely crazy if you saw a bunch of red sticking out anytime I opened the door. So I taped off everything. I started sanding away a little bit. I'm just going to do something super quick with some Rust-Oleum white. It doesn't have to be pretty. But yeah, just working on that right now. Bonnie came in and she caught me red-handed, standing on the door next door. Alright, so a little bit of progress. We got the door taped up, so hopefully we minimize the overspray that gets on any glass. We sanded it down as much as I feel like it, as you can tell. I've definitely gone through the clear coat for most of this, so I'm going to hit it with primer anyway, so that way it covers up the red. And then I'm going to hit it with some, like 2 coats of white. Hopefully it's not that bad. And maybe clear. We'll see. It doesn't need to look that great. It just needs to hide most of the red, really. And I'm tired of working on this already. I've spent like 2 hours on this. 2 hours, so you don't see bright red whenever I open the door. Alright, so I started doing fun stuff without you again. That's my bad. I got excited. So, while we're waiting for paint to dry, literally, on the door, I started deciding to try to mount up the over fender finally, more than just tape. Got this whole door area taped off, so that way I can sand that and hopefully paint it tonight. We'll see how far and how much I want to work. I decided that my best interest is to line up this line right here, and if I have to trim, then I'll trim all of this extra parts. So by doing that, I did get pretty close to the door line right here, which is pretty good, and it keeps me far enough back here, although I probably need to shimmy that just a little bit before I mount it. And then this part will have to be trimmed as well, but that's okay. I'll just take a Sharpie behind it and draw a line and hopefully be able to smooth it out. We'll learn, you know? Okay. So the last thing that I want this to do is to start to move while I'm in the middle of drilling it, because then I'm going to realize that my drill bit is not fully seated. I just broke my drill bit. How the well, it went in there too. Well, that's just insane. I forget what these are called, but they're useful for mounting body panels because they let you like test fit stuff. Oh, I just remembered. They call these calico pins. I don't know why. That is what I've heard them referred to as. Alright, she's starting to look like a car. I am going to have to trim an unfortunate amount up here around the window area. It's rough, but it is what it is. This is actually pretty solid all up here, but it does kind of end up flexing a little bit over here. I'm going to see what I can do with the heat gun, but maybe just relieving some of that tension will bring it in more. I have to cut all this anyways, so it also might help. And if I do need to come back and add 1 or 2 right here, just to help, I don't mind. Okay, I went ahead and, if I didn't already explain it, got this all prepped up, hit some filler primer on that section right there. It is not as thick as I expected it to be. Hopefully, we'll see what can come out with sanding. But it is what it is. If I have to redo it, I have to redo it. Got that prepped, sanded what I could without touching the primer because that's supposed to sit for 2 to 4 hours, I think it said, before you can dry sand it. And then I brought the door in. I've set it down on this stack of tires here because I never clean this area because I'm lazy. Anyways, it's still kind of curing, so hopefully that'll be done tomorrow or the day after. And by the time that cures, I'll be able to put the door on and not damage anything. Now that said, if I do damage any of the paint that I just worked so hard to do, highly likely, most likely gonna happen, I bought white paint pens. So, I got a backup plan. Always thinking ahead. Anyways, that's it for tonight. I'll check in tomorrow. Did you see that? I am so dumb. Wow. I'm cooked, man. There's no way this car's getting done. Okay, so I got a lot of work done off camera. Did all the boring stuff. Like I said, I was tired of showing super boring sanding, prepping. I guess that's part of it all, but I just needed to do some work off camera. So, in a change of plans, we're going to try something a little bit more than what I had previously said I was going to do. Let me show you. Okay, so quickly the door already became a table, but aside from that, kind of admiring my work, I got kind of excited about how the paint came out. Now there's definitely some spots in there that you can tell are a little bit orange peely, and I definitely could have done better. It didn't help, the severe angle here and everything that I was working with, but I got a little inspired. So, you can see I've taped off everything. So, we got the whole A-pillar section taped off. We got all the way back to that back corner of the car. Instead of just painting the door sill, I am going to try to paint this whole thing. Now, if it comes out poorly, it's a small enough section, I can just sand it back down, move on with my life. But if it comes out good, Rust-Oleum, sponsor me, baby. So, as I've said before, this is kind of a process. I'm really trying to figure out how to work on this car, as I'm trying to do it and make the videos and everything. So, last time I showed anything, I decided to try to rattle can the whole A-pillar and the door sill, all of it. I'm looking at the car right now. You can tell it's probably not great. But, I'll be honest with you, it didn't come out terrible. But there's a couple things that have made me decide that that's definitely not the route to take and that was kind of a waste of time. I'll talk about them. For one thing, I don't know if the camera is going to show it very well, but it didn't come out great. It's got a little bit of a shine to it, and my plan was to come back to it and hit it with 8,000 grit would be crazy. It's just paper. My plan was to come back to it and hit it with an 800 grit, maybe 1,000 grit before I put the clear coat on, because that's what the clear coat that I bought said to do. And I thought that would honestly create a pretty glossy finish. So basically, after I painted it the other night, I went inside and started kind of researching my next steps. So I said, if this goes well, what do I do next? And I was going to need to buy enough, gloss white, primer, and clear coat. Long story short, for just what I put down here after the clear coat, it was probably about $40. So you can imagine when I expand that to the rest of the car, we're in the hundreds. I don't know if I'm just doing it wrong. I don't know how other people, I don't know if it's just not feasible to spray paint a car cheap anymore, or if they just skip clear or what they're doing. But didn't seem like a good idea for me. So then I went down the path of, let me buy a compressor. That's negligible since I'll use the compressor. Let me get the legit paint, and again, kind of running into the several $100s range if you do it with real automotive paint, not just some mixed up Rust-Oleum, which you could also still do. I saw quite a couple of options like that. So when I was looking up local paint stores, I realized that there's an Econo paint down the road. For those that don't know, that's like a Mako, just really cheap paint jobs. And they had pretty good reviews. And at the end of the day, this is a drift car that's going to be work truck gloss white, not like crazy flake, not like you're going to notice a whole bunch of difference between the panels. I think that's the move. So I need to still prep the car, but I'm not painting it myself. Definitely going to go that route. So let's talk about what's next. So with that said, still always needed to paint the door sill, so that's good. I am going to still try to get that nice and shiny and, as smooth as I can. Not because it's super important. I won't spend a whole lot of time on it, but I am still going to try to hit it with some 800, 1,000 grit sandpaper and see if I can, when I lay the clear coat down, if it'll come out nice and glossy. The rest of it, I might not touch that today since I want to spray and move on with my life. I want to put the door back on and stuff. Hopefully I can spray this clear tonight, so that way that can start to harden. I can get the door on, and then I can rotate the car to work on everything else. So let's get to it. So I found a can of this old gloss white. Hopefully it matches. I want to hit it one more time with a big heavy coat, especially since I missed a couple spots. I sanded through, I guess. I didn't really miss them. I just sanded through them. So we're going to hit that before we do the clear. See if I can lay it down heavy enough to not get runs, but also end up a little bit more glossy finish to set up good for the clear coat. Hey guys, Editor Merrick checking in real quick. As I was editing this video, instead of working on my car, I'm so cooked. I thought it was getting a little bit too long for my own personal preferences. See, I have a short attention span, and the recent trend of YouTube videos being 30 minutes to an hour long is really starting to get me. Most of the time I fall asleep before I can finish them. I thought this was a good ending point since we wrapped up painting the door sill. I seem to have lost some of the clear coat footage, but it is what it is. Appreciate y'all for watching. Thank you, and catch you next time where I start to put that rest of the left side of the car back together, and it looks good. Stay tuned. Appreciate y'all. I need to go to bed. Peace.